Recent corruption charges are just the tip of a massive iceberg. That's the word from the National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Batohi. She's addressing Parliament's Justice Portfolio Committee, but Bathoi is worried that budget cuts will drastically affect her office's ability to bring criminals to book. Let's get reaction on this story now. We're joined by attorney Nthabiseng Dubazana. Nthabiseng, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So Shamila Batohi reckons if any of the money is taken away from her, she won't be able to do her job effectively.
I can understand why she would say that. As it is, the NPA is stretched very thin to deal with a number of cases that are already on the court roll. And considering what the COVID-19 pandemic has done to resources in the economy, I wouldn't be surprised that there's going to be a cut in the budget. As it is, the NPA, from what I have been privy to, there's not going to be increments for the prosecutors or even the presiding officers who are sitting on the bench. So we are looking at a situation whereby you might be dealing with one cut to assist the NPA in doing their job, and then employees who are the prosecutors themselves who are going to be complaining that they don't have enough, they're not being paid enough for the amount of work that they have to deal with.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're seeing lots of charges being leveled against prominent people over the past couple of weeks. Do we reckon the NPA is finally getting things right?
I think so far we're doing a good job, or rather they are doing a good job. There is a way forward. There's now clear prosecutions. Let's just hope that there's sufficient merit for them to, when it gets to trial stage, that they'll actually win against any defense attorney they'll be coming across with. Because just because there's been arrests and people have been charged doesn't automatically equate to that person being found guilty of the crime. So there's still a trial that has to go, we have to go through. So the merits of the investigations that the NPA have to be weighed against the defense attorney's statements and the accused statements, etc. So we should see how that would play out in the courts.
Yeah. And of course, that is not going to happen if the NPA loses 585 prosecutors if there are budget cuts.
So as it is, you'll be looking at whereby the courts are now being combined, because prosecutors now have to deal with the court roll for, let's say, Court A and Court B. So now that's probably looking at about one prosecutor dealing with over 100 cases per day. And in those 100 cases, we're looking at maybe about 10, 15 trials that might not proceed. So now we're looking at trials that be struck off the roll because they've been on the roll for too long, or we're looking at trials that may be withdrawn because even though there might be a strong case, the merits are not strong enough, so they'll withdraw those cases. So we're starting to get complaints from complainants or victims who've opened cases. So we're looking at a very tough time coming for the NPA should they proceed with the cutting of the jobs.
All right, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Nthabiseng Dubazana is an attorney.